30 years ago, I couldn't read or write. But I wrote a book, you know, that they're making a movie about. And I wrote a second book that they say is going to do unbelievable too. So that goes to show you that God is real, you know. So I go to him for wisdom and knowledge, you know.
Well, not to try to pin you down on it, but was there maybe one particular moment that really, for you, was kind of a very challenging moment where you just thought, I don't know if I can make it through this? I'm sure with all the things you've seen.
There's so much, and it's not really so much in Africa. I mean, there was a lot of hard. I think in Africa the hardest thing was when you would see the starving people, when you would see the children that's cut in half,
right.
When you see children nailed to trees, and then you come home and you tell the stories to people, and you still don't raise enough money to do something about it. So then you got to start selling your stuff in your home to do something about it. You know, so yeah, there's a lot of challenges to life, but sometimes I think God is, you know, testing us to see how far are you willing to go.
Right.
And I believe that I proved myself to him, and I believe that's why I'm here today. You know, because God's seen, you know, you can tell in the movie there was a sacrifice. Yeah, there was a sacrifice. You can see it.
Does it surprise you with the amount of information that's available on a global basis every single minute of every day, that so many people don't understand what's going on in Sudan and Darfur?
You know, I believe that we all have problems in our own life. And, you know, in America right now, we're in a recession. Everyone in this room either had problems financially in the last 2 years, or we know someone that has filed bankruptcy or lost their homes or something. So we're in serious situations here in the U.S., you know. So I believe that's why a lot of people will kind of turn their head. But when you have the faith that I have, you know, when you learn to give, you can't outgive God. And I mean, I almost lost my home through all of this. I had a vehicle repossessed through all of this. I mean, I've done unbelievable things that didn't even touch in the movie. If you got an opportunity to buy the book, and you'll see examples of faith in that book. And it was a long struggle, you know, but I never gave up. And it's still going to be a struggle. You know, people that knows me even had relatives say to me, Sam, why don't you just quit right now? And I could quit right now and live the conservative life. I live in a country home in Pennsylvania, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything again. Yeah, I could live a very conservative life. But you want to know what I told them? You just don't get it. You just don't get it. I hope before the end of next year, I hope we're feeding 10,000 meals a day. I'm feeding about 3,500 meals a day right now. And, you know, it's not enough, you know. I guess it's kind of like an addiction when you're helping people.
2 minutes. Did you feel they did the conversion experience with authenticity in the movie?
For Hollywood, yes. For Christians, no. You know, I'm trying to be for as real as I can, but, you know, I didn't want a movie for Christians. I wanted a movie that could plant seeds in the world. And I believe that, you know, as a Christian, I could go through and nitpick. And I'm telling you, this is my heart, okay? I could go through and nitpick so much of the movie. But as somebody of the world, they can step back and say, wow, there must be a God. You know, so that's what I was after.
Well, speaking of like Hollywood, how has the Hollywood sort of machine, how have you reacted to that? Has it been a pleasurable experience? Because I mean, a lot of times when you hear about movies that are based on real stories,
kind of like a rash, you learn to live with it.
But I mean, but I would think with this being the end result that it's all
they've done good.
It's done a good job.
And look, I can honestly say that if I was not pleased with what's out there, because I know it's going to help a nation, it's going to help our nation, it's going to help around the world, I would not be here. I mean, I don't care who has watched the movie. I've had some of my biker friends, hardcore people watch that movie and told me, man, it made me cry.
Yeah.
You know, so it's doing, it might not, you know, it might not do the results that a lot of Christians will think so. But I tell you what I've been telling Christians around the U.S. every time I get an opportunity. You'll never get a better outreach plan than this. And I tell churches, go buy theaters out. My little church in Pennsylvania, we bought every seat out in a theater. We went in and bought a whole theater out. And what we're doing is we're handing the tickets out to people that will not go to church. And it's the biggest outreach plan you could ever do. And give the tickets to people. People that's all messed up. People that has addictions, you know.
I think even beyond churches, maybe schools
Yeah,
should
absolutely,
take their students to
absolutely.
see.
You know, somebody said to me the other night, they said, well, why did you make it R-rated? The language is bad for kids. I said, it's no worse than they'll hear on the way home on their bus.
Absolutely true. Or in the hallway.
Absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It's a wonderful film.
All right, so we're done? One
Last
more?
question.
Okay, last question.
Can you talk about what your book's about, your new one?
The new one, everything that's not in the first book. No, the new one is, I have it titled Living on the Edge. And it is everything that's not in the first book, but a few things hit that are in the first book. And the ghostwriter from the first book started reading some of the second. He broke down and started crying. And he says, oh my God, Sam, where did this come from? And I said, well, the first book was all from up here. And the second book is right from here. And it's all the struggles that I went through that nobody even really knows, you know. And, you know, a lot of people would say, you know, Sam, why don't you give up? I heard God say to do it, but I didn't hear him say give up. You know, so till he says stop, I'll keep going. But the second book is really, really good. The first one's good. You have to pick it up somewhere. Another Man's War.
All right, guys. I actually have a few copies, not enough for